Here we go in the ace match of this best of 3 series between the marked of Kane green player Spectre in the bottom right side of Tournament Tower versus the orange GDI, who is green 0. And as I said, this is semifinals, this is a best of 3, and we do have this final game to see who is going to make it to the finals of this Kane's Wrath 1v1 tournament, which happened on May 19th, which, as I am told, was absolutely awesome, that was absolutely epic, and I do not doubt it because we had some very good players in this game, like Green Zero, like Spectre, like Illusion, like so many others who played in this tournament. And now, what do we have? We have Green Zero, we have Spectre, and we have seen 2 pretty good games already. Green Zero and Spectre both showing in some different games that they can play strong, they can play standard, they can take games in this tournament, and they might be able to take it all the way for the win. Who is going to take this game, though? That is a real question, because both of these players taking their Tiberium spikes, which is always a good start. Anytime you lose an engineer in the beginning of the game, it's just not a good time, not a good thing to happen. Ever. In fact, losing units is just in general bad. But, you know, I guess that's part of the game, as some people would say. Those of you who aren't total perfectionists. Awakened. Oh, Awakened. I always think, you know, like selling off Shredder turrets, it only gets you this 1 Awakened because it's like a weakened squad. But, I mean, then they've got their EMP locking down 2 Harvesters. So incredibly annoying, especially at this level of play, where, you know, like if you're in a noob match, if you're in a lower level match, it's not necessarily going to be as big of a deal if you delay Harvesters a bunch like this, which I'm assuming he's going to maybe delay these Harvesters a little bit more. It looks like he won't. But with that EMP ability, you can delay units, and in the higher level of play, where every moment matters, where, you know, if you don't match your opponent exactly, you will lose the game, and even, like, little things like that can put you behind, and that can compound with other things, and you can end up losing the game, not necessarily because of that one act, but because of that one act and some other stuff. It all adds together, and that is just, you know, an example of that. So it's always interesting to see little things like that out of these players, the way that they're able to use a single Awakened squad to actually only lock down 2 Harvesters once, so it's probably not that big of a deal at all. But both of these players are going to be expanding after we saw their fairly standard openers with 5 Harvesters out of Green Zero, and I'm assuming at least 5 for Spectre. Yes, he does in fact have those 5 Harvesters on that 2 refiners. That is absolutely standard. Adding on a 6th Harvester and a 3rd refinery at the expansion, exactly what you want to see. But is that APC going to be waiting for some... Oh, waiting for an engineer? Are we going to see some sort of an engineer rush? Some sort of a... He might just be going for the Tib spike, but he might be going for the MCV, which would be silly to see, something you don't see very often. But we do have Tiberium Troopers, the marked of Kane, alternative to the Black Hand, and some attack bikes going to be going for a little bit of harassment. But spoiler alert, there's no Harvester here for them to harass at this moment. But Tiberium Troopers have grabbed that building, and a couple of rocket squads are going to follow it up, which may be able to do a little bit of damage to these tanks, and the Tiberium Troopers do slow down the movement of vehicles, which is quite annoying, especially when they're getting shot up with rockets, because rockets in your face shooting your stuff is never a good thing to have. And where did that APC go? That's what I want to know. That APC with the engineer, I've lost it. Now I don't know where it is. And now, I don't want to miss the APC, and I'm afraid that I will. Oh, okay, it's not anywhere, but he hasn't. I don't understand. Did I miss something? No, I hope I didn't. Anyways, so we're seeing expansions, and ooh, what is he getting? What upgrade will he be getting? Spectre.
We've got the rockets.
Never mind. Okay, so he did get the Tiberium Infusion, which is going to help his infantry just a little bit, and most likely going to see a lot of infantry play out of Spectre, as we are already seeing. And as you can see, they take no damage from that Tiberium because they're already infused with Tiberium, and these Grenadier squads are going to be very useful for basically, of course, doing damage to those infantry squads, especially the rocket squads when they're just standing there, dealing the damage, but also cleaning out this building, which does have that Tiberium Trooper squad in there. Actually, it may not anymore, as they were not firing, so I guess they are no longer in there. But it does look like Green Zero now going to be pushing forward, taking that tower, and Spectre, what is he going to be doing? Double pumping his hand of Nod. Rocket Troopers are going to be fairly good versus, you know, most things, but throwing a couple of them away to that tower, not exactly what you want to be seeing, especially when you've got two Tiberium Trooper squadrons, which now they're kind of worthless, although as you saw there how easily they can take out entire squads of basic infantry. They're of course not worthless in the slightest, and this Reknar heading forward, going to be maybe drawing some fire and setting up a near bunker, which those of course cannot be cleared by the Grenadiers, and two bunkers for Spectres, so these really committing to this here. And we do have, I'm assuming, some rocket troopers are going to get in there. Although these Reknars have taken a surprising amount of damage. Green Zero throwing down the Tiberium silo, which is of course is a very good and cheap meat shield to act, and also to block the line of fire for some of these units, and some of these units in this bunker who are going to be, you know, stuck in here, although nothing in there. And you do of course want to be sure to evacuate your units out of the Reckoners before the Reckoners die, because otherwise you lose all of your units, which when you have, you know, 3 squads in there, that's a pretty big deal, especially when you're going such heavy infantry. But Green Zero once again going for those shatterers, trying to make it work, as he was able to do that in the last game. But he's also got a fair amount of infantry to deal with all of the infantry of his opponent. And now the Reckoner going down once again and sold off both of those racks. So now Spectre is kind of going to be going, well, what exactly do I do? Because I tried this kind of infantry thing, it didn't really work out. But dropping down the Shredder turret, always a good choice. And of course, if he can get up to that tech lab and get that supercharged particle beam and max out a ridiculous amount of venoms, like this is some sort of team game, that would be hilarious to see, and that would suck for Green Zero unless he's scouting it and prepared for it, as those venoms can be so good. But he is able to do a fair amount of damage to those, you know, little Shredder turret add-ons, but not really going to be anything too big of a deal. And Green Zero going to be retreating from Spectre's base. Spectre selling off the turrets, and now Green Zero and Spectre kind of at a little bit of a stalemate, as neither one wants to move in. They both want to sit back, macro up a little bit, and as you can see, basically half of the Tiberium on this map is already gone, which means as these central Tiberium fields get used up, and actually up to that those beam cannons already, he has had those for 30 seconds or so. They're going to be able to do a fair amount of artillery damage to this army, which is always nice to have. And now Spectre, what is he going to be doing? Just sniping these units with these beam cannons. And those beam cannons do a fair amount of damage, able to take out 2 of the Shatterers there basically by themselves. And now with all of these infantry here, well, with this small amount of infantry, he's going to be able to hold the line versus Green Zero. But this Tiberium is going to become more and more important as it dries up, and then all of these, you know, 6 harvesters are going to be basically worthless as this game progresses on. They're going to have less and less work, which means any sort of harassment attacks, any sort of things like that will become less of a big deal. But APCs, not necessarily the best choice, especially when you're taking so much damage from those beam cannons. You need to get in there and do something about that. And actually, Green Zero, what does he really have to deal with this? He is going to be getting that engineer for that war factory for the quick repair, but he doesn't have anything to deal with these beam cannons. And the tech lab just now going down, which means avatars could be on the way, or a Redeemer engineering facility could be thrown down up here, and getting out that epic unit, getting out that Redeemer, and the tech center has gone down, which means Juggernauts, which the Juggernauts are just going down to those beam cannons. Spectre does have that critical mass of beam cannons where they can do so much damage, and just look how fastly they kill a war factory, and they will do the same to the MCV, and even taking out some of those infantry squads, they do basically no damage to the infantry. But buildings just get absolutely owned, and Green Zero is going to have to do something to deal with this attack, or else he's going to lose this game. And we're dropping down a watchtower. We'll delay this. We'll be able to take out the rocket squads a little bit and do some damage to the beam cannons. But the beam cannons can just back up, and that Redeemer engineer facility is there where the Redeemer is on the way. And the power plant as the meat shield with the shredder turret to draw the fire of his enemies. But the foxhole does go down. Only a rifleman squad in there. He needs to garrison a missile squad if he wants to be a little bit more effective. But with those beam cannons, they are going to make short work of that foxhole. And also the watchtower is now gone as well, which means no more defense for Green Zero. His economy is still doing pretty well. Redropping that war factor, going to be able to pump out some units, possibly some mammoth tanks, possibly some juggernauts. We will see. And going for the MCV now, throwing down the laser fencing on the MCV, going to let it live a little bit longer. But I'm guessing these are, yes, those are holographic beam cannons just to draw the fire of his opponent for just a couple of seconds, which those are always nice with the slower firing units. If they're firing at the hologram or the hallucinated units, it's always nice to have them wasting those shots, wasting that ammo, which not really wasting the ammo, but wasting that time shooting the worthless units. And juggernauts are here for Green Zero, but the Redeemer, and of course the Redeemer can use that rage generator to cause these juggernauts to shoot each other if he's not careful. And so far, no infantry add-ons quite yet. He could throw in... Actually, I'm not sure what would be the best choice. Maybe an engineer and maybe a Tiberium trooper. That would be an unusual combination. Not something you see very often. But for now, he is going for absolutely no add-ons in his Redeemer. He's going to be marching in here and using the cloaking field to hide it from the juggernauts. But the scan does go down for Green Zero, revealing, hey, you got a, Redeemer in your base, shooting your face. And it does look like the Redeemer is going to be marching all over the place, not doing a whole lot as right now. I guess he will step on that infantry squad, which is pretty terrifying if you think about it. Chasing that Juggernaut around, trying to kill it, but just can't quite get it. And now he's going to be marching around, stomping all over the sides of the map. Spectre is at the advantage, of course, especially after taking down the MCV, but a fair amount of Juggernauts, and there's the Rage Generator, which means harvesters shooting Juggernauts, Juggernauts shooting refineries, harvesters, and of course the Redeemer, which that Redeemer, every shot that gets off, does do a fair amount of damage, but Green Zero needs to make sure he drops down. Oh no, he can't. That's right, he lost his MCV. I was going to say drop down a barracks and recapture those husks, but he can't. And this Redeemer may go down, but he's still got a whole bunch of beam cannons, and now a heroic beam cannon, not something you see very often. And one more Juggernaut will. Oh no, I don't know if they eliminate each other, but those beam cannons were able to clean that up. But the Redeemer went down as well, so Spectre is still not in too bad of shape, and he's also going on with the engineers, going to be able to grab that husk. Most likely, Green Zero doesn't have anything to stop him unless he wants to pull off a harvester, which I don't... Wait, where's this? Yeah, go for that husk. That's the easy capture, although there is 2 engineers there, so I guess he could go for multiple husks. And the harvester is going to be heading to the front, getting taken out by those beam cannons, and now a Juggernaut adding insult to injury, using his own units against him. And sniping those Juggernaut husks isn't necessarily the best thing to be doing, as he could capture those, but he's probably got the game in the bag at this point, as, no build queue. Oh, no, now the build queue is back up. I was saying it's kind of a waste because there's no barracks, not that Spectre knows that, but we know that, which means we can say those things. And the MCV, 3,500 credits, basically down the drain almost instantly, dropping down a Tiberium silo, only going to delay these units for but a moment, and the MCV does pack up. It will take so much damage, and right there, does go down, and the barracks as well, and this war factory, which means no production structures anymore for Green Zero, and that will be the end of this game. Green Zero has been defeated. Spectre will take it to the finals, which if you want to see those finals, you should head over to Green Zero's YouTube page, because he will be casting the finals, and they will be up there at some point. I'm not sure exactly when, because I don't know when I'll be uploading these games myself. So they're probably up by now, but if they're not, go over to Green Zero, give his videos a look. If you're interested in Kane's Wrath, that is the place to be, as he's a great caster, and he does plenty of Kane's Wrath videos. So you can head over to his YouTube page, give it a look, and hopefully the finals will be there so you can see those, and you can watch them and be amazed at this tournament, as this tournament is not too shabby so far, but we have yet to see it all. So this is Sybert Actually, let's take a look at that resource graph as I did kind of pass over the graphs. But Spectre able to take out the win with the more money, taking out that loan, getting the bailout, and Green Zero actually coming out ahead in a little bit of the end, which allowed him to produce that MCV, but it was already basically GG at that point. Green Zero, good game. Spectre, well done, playing strong, playing standard, doing so well in these games. Hope to see you at the finals when they show up, wherever. Anyways, this is Sybert signing out.